Nadal is the aggressor today.
15 love.
It's the one that dominates the tempo, the rallies, not afraid to come in. Djokovic way too passive.
We know that grass is the toughest surface to defend on, and even with Djokovic's foot speed, when Nadal is moving forward, he's going to be the dominant force in these rallies. Djokovic is the one that had the opportunity there in the middle of the court, didn't find his spot. And that's what happens if you don't put Nadal's forehand under pressure.
NADAL leads 3 games to now.
Full set. Looks like we're heading to a fifth. Long way to go, but that hold of serve from Nadal in the first game, was it 14 or 15 minutes of break points, was absolutely amazing.
And in case you're wondering whether it's raining indoors, no, it's Nadal sweat. I've never seen something like this after 3 games. It's soaking wet.
Well, we were concerned about the health and well-being of this one earlier on. I don't know the name of these butterflies, but I do like them. And it's still in the middle of the court, and it's in great danger. It's just taking a break, as the players are. 90 seconds between games, and then it'll start fluttering around again. But it's such a delicate thing, in direct contrast to the Nadal forehand. Thunderous stroke. With the bottoms that he does.
Sit quickly, ladies and gentlemen, please.
Just so.
Thank you.
Players are taking quite a lot of time between points, actually over the 25 seconds on average, I believe, at the moment. But the umpire, Damien Steiner, I think doing the right thing and just letting them get on with it.
Important game this for Djokovic, really, to establish himself in part 2 of this match. Down love 3, doesn't want to go a double break down, because that really would end the 4th set.
Djokovic must be a little shell-shocked by the sheer force and determination of Nadal now. Sure didn't expect that.
Hey! 30 left. left. Game Djokovic. Nadal leads 3-1, fourth set.
Under the guidance of Boris Becker, my co-commentator in here, there was a run for Novak Djokovic of 7 straight victories and 15 sets through 2015-16. So Djokovic was dominating for a while. Then his form fell off a cliff after winning the French Open to complete the set of all the Grand Slam championships.
Beautiful to see. Nadal attacking the net and being successful with it. Who would have thought 10 years ago that the clay court phenomenon, Rafael Nadal becoming a grass court expert?
No warm-up tournament on grass for Nadal this time.
It's been a successful tactic for both of them. Points won at the net. Nadal's won 28 of 36 points at the net. Djokovic 19 of 28, so they're certainly efficient up at the net.
But they're not chip and charging,
no,
are they? They're coming in on strength.
Coming in behind Nadal's forehand's not that difficult.
In
trouble again on his serve. This one of his weaker volleys popped up.
It's all about the right timings when you come in. Obviously, both players have incredible passing shots, so you want to pick your moment.
Serve succumbs. 3-2 now. Back on terms in this fourth set.
Nadal leads 3-2, fourth set.
So when you were working with
2-1.
When you were working with Novak Djokovic for the 3 years that you did, Boris, I know you got summoned or requested to join the camp. When you were in Johannesburg, you flew to Monaco and you had this meeting with him. So you laid out some terms there, I guess, felt like, can I work with this man or not? And you said yes, but did you actually talk tactics with him when you were working against Nadal, who was obviously a prime rival? Did you sit down? Was there 2 or 3 things that you wanted Novak to take on court?
Oh, very much so, but not only against Nadal, because every player needs to improve, I believe. It's a tennis game, and as such, changes every 18 months. Players evolve and get better and improve their weaknesses, so you have to adapt your own game, and if you've been winning for a long time, players start to read your own game, therefore you have to improve as well. And I felt Novak's mentality was a bit too negative. I felt that he was too passive on some of the ground strokes, and he needed to improve his serve. And it's just a couple of points here and there difference, but usually that's the difference between winning and losing. And we could see here today is that Nadal this morning, or at the start of the match, is much more aggressive and wins the points at the net. Now, he started to do a few more unforced errors now and gives Djokovic sort of the break back. But I think the attitude is better today from Nadal than is from Djokovic. They're looking forward. They're trying to finish the point. This is grass, as you said, Tim. It is very difficult to consistently defend on the grass court.
Our butterfly has been joined by a friend right in front of Nadal. Dear, I did this. There are two little things there.
15 love.
We think that they might be cabbage white butterflies. I'm sorry to go on about it, but this is bothering me. I wish somebody would go and get them. I don't want them to get squished. There's now 3 of them. Flying ants in the first week and flutterbys in the second.
There's
quite a lot of work to be done there. Round about the height of the net, just cupping the ball and taking some of the pace off. Lovely drop by.
At second serve.
After the fast start from Nadal, it's a great response from Djokovic. Held to love, broke to 15, up 40 love on his serve. 11 of the last 12 points.
Forty, 15. DJOKOVIC. Three games all, 4 sets.
For the most part in this match, Djokovic has been carrying himself with the serenity that he had throughout, well, 2 periods really, 2011-12 and 2015-16. He was virtually unplayable at times. At one point had a 49-match winning streak, which Federer ended at the French Open 2012. And he won all the slams. Only Budge and Laver had done that. Held them simultaneously. So, 2 great players. Rare to have one of these in any era, frankly, but to have 3 of them playing at the same time has been a luxury.
No, it doesn't get any better than this, and it's very difficult for the younger generation to fill that void that eventually will happen. And these 2 great players, and obviously Roger including, call it a day. How do you duplicate 11 French Opens? How do you duplicate holding all 4 majors at the same time? How do you duplicate 8 Wimbledon? You don't. That is not an easy smash, even with the roof closed, because sunlight comes in and your vision gets blurred.
(40-15).
Points each. You'll always like that, don't you? Because it illustrates, Tim, how important certain points are. It's a big one for Nadal. He needs to re-establish himself here. He's lost 3 straight games.
NADAL leads 4-3, 4 sets. Djokovic leads by 2 sets to 1. The return speeds. Quicker. Time.
Taking the ball on. Nine-time champion on the...
Thank you.
Serving at 3. Having won 3 games in a row to climb back into this 4th set, Djokovic. Nadal with a hold for 4-3.
Doesn't serve many, but he doesn't want to serve them at this stage of the match.
I think it's come back.
15-all.
Nadal gave it the thumbs up for a catch as well. I like it when he engages with the crowd just a little.
What do you think, Boris? Djokovic had the chance a couple of times early in that point to move forward. He didn't do it, and as soon as Nadal could step into the court, he was up to the net.
Counted 17 bounces just now.
So on the first serve from Djokovic, Nadal hit the return
15,
and his vibration dampener came out. And if he went up to collect his vibration dampener, Djokovic would have got a first serve, and Rafa said, no, I'm fine.
And then climbed all over the second serve. How interesting.
Well spotted, Tim.
Very good spot.
But
it's sharp.
To play with a vibration dampener
30,
or without a vibration dampener is massively different.
Big difference. It feels like it clangs without it. I mean, some people prefer it, the vibration damper there, that little rubber thing in there. Takes all the vibration out of the frame when you strike the ball. Cost a couple of quid from your local sports shop. Who's absolutely tearing into himself at the moment. I'll be surprised if both ankles are still intact. Now this, look at this. This is a daisy cutter. And then Novak just starts...
NADAL leads 5 games to 3.
Wailing on his
shoes.
Be careful with this.
He knew the last shot from Nadal was not his best. He had the chance on the passing shot to save break point.
Look at a guy in the background. He's loving life. Oh, well.
That must have hurt a little bit.
I would have thought.
I'm afraid.
There go the metatarsals, Boris. Right. Serving for the 5th set. As you were. Serving for the 4th.
Side of the line. He's fuming now. 15. That leads to a little bit more aggression, and that leads to hitting through the ball. Sometimes it works in his favor.
When Djokovic lost a set to Kyle Edmund in the third round of the tournament, some of the crowd were getting on him a little bit. He fought them back, and that made some headlines. In the UK against Nishikori's second set, who played great. Again, same thing happened, and there was some criticism of Djokovic, but he has responded on each occasion, as he is doing so now.
Nadal has responded too. Wow.
Only his second double fault of the match. 16th of the tournament. They don't serve many of them, but it shows the tension out there for both players.
Rian Veda, his coach, is being a little bit vocal now. His player stands very close to him.
Djokovic has only taken 3 of 15 break points, and when you've had those opportunities, it's not always easy. You felt in that point that both players were slightly reluctant to pull the trigger, and Djokovic, if anything, a little tentative on that backhand.
Well, Djokovic would want this pass back. Anything down the line was good. Nadal was wise to the cross court.
When Nadal's played that drop shot, Djokovic has gone cross court a lot of the time, and I think Nadal was able to pick that one.
Net for service. Mr. Nadal challenge call, right service line, ball was called out.
Give it a good one on that first serve.
It's in. That is 5 straight points for Nadal. What a hold. It brings in the 4th set. We're going 5 sets. And everyone here absolutely, well, not everybody, but a lot of people delighted to see a decider. For Djokovic and then 3 for Nadal once again. A reminder that this is the Women's Day, Women's final day at the Championships. Everybody looking forward very much to seeing Serena Williams and Angelique Kerber, who's certainly not afraid of Williams. Grand Slam champion herself and a former world #1. Their contest is next here at centre court. They've gone the distance, these two, on a couple of occasions at the Australian Open.
Quickly, please, ladies and gentlemen.
In 2012, it was Djokovic who won 7-5 in the 5th. That was an absolute classic. 2013, Roland Garros semi-final. Nadal won 9-7 in the 5th set, and that's the only time that they have gone the full 5-set distance. This great rivalry. Been 51 editions of this. No two players have played more in the Open era. Which has been going for 50 years. That's
a little longer, please. Play another hour and a half, if you will. Even the playing field for tomorrow.
Love. 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 Led for service. Game Djokovic. First game.
Just after 2 o'clock, so 6 minutes after the women's final was supposed to start. So their wait goes on. We're under the roof here. That women's final will be an outdoor match. And this one being enjoyed on Henman Hill, as the women's final will be a little bit later on. Welcome everybody. 3 hours and 50 minutes in total for this men's semi-final between Djokovic and Nadal. 5 minutes short of 3 hours for the final set in yesterday's semi-final. Kevin Anderson beating John Isner. 175 minutes for the final set. 50 games in total. So he's going to be exhausted. And if this does go longer, then it could certainly hamper their efforts in tomorrow's final. They're both so fit, though. Can be quite wearing coming back on the resumption. This was supposed to be a day off of recuperation and rehabilitation.
I think physically they'll be fine, but emotionally, mentally they'll be a little bit drained, because this day off is important to calm your nerves a little bit and just get ready for another day. They are human after all, even though sometimes they play like superheroes. Just a little bit wild now.
Love 15.
Boris Becker should know all this, by the way. Just the 9 semi-finals for Boris. 7 finals. So 13 Wimbledon semi-finals between us in the commentary box.
You made semis of the invitational event, didn't you? Shh.
Oh. 15-30.
It's a little bit of balance for some reason now.
Just
both players know each other so well. It's their 50-second encounter. They read each other's emotions, the momentum changes. And this butterfly keeps coming back to be part of the afternoon.
Swished by Rafa's racket.
Only because Djokovic's backhand is so good.
New ball, please. 1 game all. Final set.
Does he believe it?
Yeah.
He hasn't won a big match like that in 2 years.
So who do you believe is going to win the match? I'm having Nadal, so
I know you have. Andrew, what do you think? At this stage?
Don't know. I do know that the winner of this is going to be such a heavy favourite for the final. Just both players will be feeling that weight, won't they, on their shoulders, and loving it.
That for service.
Perhaps a more important match in the career of Novak Djokovic as he rebuilds the Nadal, who is world #1 and will stay there.
the pressure.
The
intention's clear from Nadal. When he's getting anything short, whether it's on second serve or a forehand, he's looking to attack.
Game. Djokovic. Djokovic leads 2-1. Final set.
Talk about the records of these players. Talk about the ages as well. Boris, everyone getting older now. 43 players in the 128 men's draw, 30 years of age or over. All 4 semi-finalists, 30 or over. For the first time in the Open era. It's physical conditioning and training. It all makes such a difference now. And Djokovic is the youngest of the quartet, so they could go on for many years.
I think it's the sign of the times with all the regeneration possibilities, better medical help, larger team that improves the physicality of these players. You know, nowadays you were called old at 28, 29, but thankfully that's no longer the case.
What age did you hang the racket up?
I was 32.
You were 32,
yeah.
Tim?
I was 33.
Was that about the right time? No, at 28 I got off on a job and my wife was expecting. I wasn't winning matches. You guys were good. Everybody's circumstances are So different, but Novak refinding the fire to go out there and compete in these marathon matches against his fellow champions. It's one of the joys of the year. Nobody was sure whether he would come back.
We shouldn't forget Nadal has taken his time off through injuries. He hasn't played a full year in a while.
Staying down for a second. He's taken a blow there. That was incredible. Very rare that you get to see Novak Djokovic genuinely panting. You can understand why. He had to recover so many times. There was a terrible bounce that Nadal had to deal with on his own baseline. His footwork brilliant. And I think that's 10 for 10 after a drop shot on the forehand side for Nadal. He gets such reward for that.
That's working well now. The other side, you see Djokovic still struggling with that first rally. Still not physically fully recovered.
Game NADAL.
Well, it would be interesting to put the stopwatch on this one because Novak will take his time here.
2 games all.
See, he recovers. That was an awesome first rally in that.
Mr. Djokovic, challenge the call right line, ball was called out. Lap 15. Mr. Djokovic has 2 challenges remaining.
Glad she's on this match and not the Serena Williams match later on. You'll remember Serena being disqualified from the US Open against Kim Clijsters.
15-all.
Threatening that line judge.
Djokovic is taking the initiative. Keep the rally short and follows it to the net. That's been the recipe for success for both players.
Well, we're playing that game where we have to guess who's on our own forehead. Superb.
Who's going to have the courage and conviction to keep going for the shots? Whichever player is proactive seems to come out on top.
Game Djokovic. Djokovic leads 3-2. Final set.
One of the most impressive things about Novak Djokovic is that in the Federer-Nadal era, which is what it was before he arrived on the scene, he could so easily have settled Boris 4, 3, 4, 5 in the world. In fact, he closed out those years where Federer and Nadal were dominating. He didn't settle for that. I think the same argument can be made for Andy Murray and to a degree Stan Wawrinka, who kept on improving, but it was Djokovic who just pushed on and actually went past Federer and Nadal for quite some time.
You know, it speaks for his character and his personality and this deep hunger of becoming the very best, of not stopping, of not leaving no stone unturned. But I think that goes for all great players. I think Federer is still playing because of Nadal. Nadal got better because of Federer. I would marry the equation there for a couple of years before he got injured. I think they feed off each other, and that's so beautiful to see.
Rafa Nadal then serving at 2-3 in the 5th set of this semi-final to play Kevin Anderson in tomorrow's championship match. 2 p.m. for that UK time.
love. Love.
And it's the service from both players I find extraordinary. Yesterday and today gives them a lot of free points.
Game Nadal. Three games all. Final set.
A couple of straightforward holds for both players in this 5th set. It's probably going to boil down to, as usual, who can create the opportunities and who can take them. And we look at break points in this match. Djokovic 3 of 16, Nadal 4 of 6.
Love. Third love.
Brace of duchesses alongside the chairman's wife, Jill Brooke.
And this beautiful game called tennis, with all the statistics we have and the science, proof, the points and percentages, ultimately it's who makes the point when it matters most, and it's usually at the end of every match.
Forte 15.
Angelique Kerber will play for the championship that Ann Jones won in 1969, beating Billie Jean King, who's also in the roll box. A little bit later on, Virginia Wade in 77, Martina Navratilova 9 times. Billie Jean King and Martina Navratilova, such a massive part of the history of tennis. Somebody Billie Jean had a great rivalry with Margaret Court, who won the Australian Open Championships 11 times. Rafa Nadal has won the French 11 times. These are records that you think will never be broken, but who knows. Marion Bartley in the royal box today as well. Women's final later on after this. anything off centre there, and he would have been love 30 down. That is a 90-mile-an-hour backhand. That's his weak side.
But that speaks very much for his conviction and his belief in his own abilities. After all, he's the #1 player in the world.
He's only lost twice this year as Rafa Nadal to Marin Cilic, a match he retired from in the quarterfinal of the Australian Open. He lost to Dominic Thiem on clay as well, twice in a year. 35 match victories. Seem very relaxed, considering their man is 3-4, 30-all, 5th set.
Strong serving by Nadal again. Sets up the points nicely, and no problem with that forehand volley.
Djokovic was pulled into the net, had to step up to that forehand and take it on down the line. He struck it well, but Nadal will have expected to make that probably.
Deuce.
Forehand down the line. Djokovic with a punch on that forehand to hurry Nadal. Here's your break. Mr. Hagman.
Djokovic.
First one in the 5th.
Djokovic read the corner, knew it was going to come on the forehand, but wilted just a little bit.
advantage, Nadal.
Sledgehammer Nadal. 92 miles an hour down the line at deuce, and a 99 mile an hour reverse forehand flying through the court. Look at this. Every ounce of this bull of a man through that forehand.
Had break point to be serving for the match at 5-3, and 3 points later he's serving at 4-all. Pressure back on Djokovic.
Head for service.
Nadal obviously now full of energy and just overjoyed with the emotion. It's got to be careful not to lose your balance there. Well, Djokovic is playing it pretty cool right now.
$15-30.
Slightly worried faces.
Dragged slightly wide. Credit Nadal. He was off, chasing to his backhand side. Nadal has earned himself 2 break points so soon after struggling on his own serve.
40. Penalty 40.
It's a lot of aces for Djokovic, but he needs another one.
Just when you needed first serves.
Deuce.
Djokovic with just enough on that backhand volley.
Advantage.
If Nadal could get a racket on
DJOKOVIC.
it, anything in the court was good. Here he goes. He knows where he's going to have to run to. He can't believe it. Just fantastic. 4 straight points from 15-40 down. Great serves. The courage to come in and play the volley. And that's smooth as silk backhand.
Djokovic leads 5-4. Final set.
It's a joke. These guys are they just elevate this sport, which is actually really difficult to play, to a new level.
We've seen very few unforced errors in the match so far, and at 4-all, 15-all, Djokovic made 2 in a row to go down 15-40, and you felt, is that the moment for Nadal to take advantage? But such a gutsy 4 points.
It's one of the questions coming in was, what was he going to be like after Queens, where he had match point against Cilic, and then Cecchinato at the French Open. He made the quarter-final and then seemed to fall down a little bit. He's not wilting, is he, Djokovic?
He's certainly not, and I think that's always the test, is dealing with adversity. When things are going well and you're a top player, it's not that difficult, but when you've got to overcome those bumps in the road, the tricky moments. Very good signs for Djokovic. Now the pressure switches straight back to Nadal. He's the one that's had those opportunities, now got to serve at 4-5 to stay in the match.
I think the match is anybody's match right now. It's totally open. Whoever makes that extra point when it matters. Literally.
Unusual.
Love 15. Love 13.
What a return. What a return off 117-mile-an-hour first serve, deep to the baseline. Nadal unable to get the ball in the court when he most needed it on this forehand side twice now.
6 points in a row at this stage of the match.
Now it's Nadal's turn to come up with the serves when he needs them most. A few more to come. You can barely watch it anymore.
Big serving in big moments from both players.
It's called a touch of class. Can he learn that? No.
Games all.
Was the greatest returner of all time able to get a ball back into play from love 30? I don't think he did.
On the one backhand at 15:30, he had a hit at it, but it was still after first serve and Nadal. So
thank you.
Bring out the best in each other when it's crunch time. Wonderful to watch.
Love. Mr. Djokovic is challenging the call right base. Ball was called in.
It's right on top of the ball, obviously. Djokovic hitting that shot. He must feel confident. This ball is over the baseline.
30 love.
Good return by
30,
Nadal,
15.
really stepping in behind the second server, Djokovic.
Mr. Nadal is challenging the call left service line. Ball was called in.
Even though he's changing his back already.
Yes, he's changing. Novak is suggesting that he thought it was out by staying. Doesn't want to lose his rhythm between first and second serves. To make that return, it stopped on the line, the serve. Got quite a lot of frame on it.
40, 15.
Get it back over the net.
Could have done a bit more with that passing shot too.
Serving once again, 6-5 Djokovic, men's semi-final, women's final to come here on centre court.
Djokovic leads 6-5. Final set.
4 hours 36 minutes this match. Royalty present for the women's final. Your Duchess of Cambridge on the left-hand side there is patron of the club. Her sister-in-law, the Duchess of Sussex. She probably took the invitation and said, well, would you like to come to my tennis club, see some tennis? It's not a bad club. 150th anniversary. Kate and Meghan having a go. I always wonder where the boys are in these situations. Do you think they're watching the footy down the pub or something?
It's wonderful to see the royal family supporting this championship so much every year.
Virginia Wade's up there. I think it was last time.
2011, was it?
Is that right? That is knowledge.
Her 4th visit to the championships.
Such a thing as too easy at this point.
15 love.
We haven't said too often that there were poor shots consecutively. A bad drop shot from Nadal and even worse shot from Djokovic. I always think Boris serving first in the 5th when you get to this stage is probably an advantage, but you look at Anderson's 2 big wins against Federer and Isner. He was serving 2nd in the final set.
I
still think it's an advantage serving first, because the worst thing that happens is a break point. But when you have to catch up, it's match point. The 1-2 punch, we've been so familiar with Nadal over the years.
In the first part of this match, Nadal was going to the forehand in the ad box. He certainly changed that up today.
Games all, final set.
If you were with us for the first semi-final, which took place yesterday, all 6.5 hours of it, you'll know that there is no tiebreak in the final set at Wimbledon. Perhaps a debate for the future, but both men's semi-finals absolutely going the distance here. 6-all, 5th set, 4 hours and 40 minutes over 2 days, under the roof. And the women's final coming next, Kerber versus Williams. A great tennis day.
Love. Love. 40-15.
Had to wait in the changing room and around, eating again and again and stretching, being ready as they waited for Anderson versus Isner, which went 26-24. There were questions, and there are questions about the order of play, how it was decided. What was the thinking behind that, Tim? Because the women now have to wait, and it's difficult for them. People would like an explanation of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, it's a little bit unusual. Start, so it's really something that the professional players will have, become accustomed to. They'll be used to. It's a question of staying patient and waiting for their opportunity when this match eventually does finish. Having said that, there was a debate about when this match should go on, and it was felt that after the long day yesterday, they wanted to get this match completed, and therefore get on with it at the first opportunity. And obviously, with them finishing late, there's a certain amount of time that you have to give them to recover. So 1 o'clock was really felt the earliest opportunity.
NADAL serving once again to stay in the semi-final. 3 o'clock on this Saturday afternoon. 4 hours and 44 minutes of play over 2 days for these two champion players.
With the closed roof and the match being played for so long, it feels a lot later in the day than just 3 in the afternoon.
With the courage to strike through the ball. He's such belief in his technique, of course.
And that's, for me, the story of the match. 175 points each.
15-30.
Wound up.
30-all.
Yeah, he gets the return. He knows Nadal's going to pick the forehand side, and he can't hit it back. Talking about one of the greatest returners in the game.
That's not going to please him either. It's another forehand miss. Body serve.
Something you talked a lot about yesterday, Boris, was using that body serve. Djokovic is so good at reacting both ways, lunging to the forehand or to the backhand, sometimes to tie him up. is an effective serve.
Game Nadal.
Well, Novak is still going mad at his box, at himself for these missed opportunities. He's got to calm down quickly now. 7-all.
And of course Nadal can hear that. He knows his opponent is very frustrated. You feel the pressure increasing. You can smell blood.
This forehand is going to be attacked now by Nadal, isn't it? These are mistakes that
Love 15.
he's not used to making. Djokovic. If somebody marks that down as an unforced error from Nadal, I think it's a mistake. He threw everything at Djokovic. Ball kept on coming back. Just deep enough to ask a question. And that snaps a losing streak of a few points for Djokovic. Oof.
He's on a tightrope right now. Nadal has the extra step, the extra spring, the energy, and Djokovic
has the element of frustration.
30.
Definitely looking a little tense all of a sudden.
Thank you. Use.
think all is lost, he comes out with the goods.
Opening for Rafa. The forehand corner was free.
But he hasn't missed it yet, Boris. Just enough RPM to bring it down.
Advantage. Nadal.
After a point like that, it's for both. Nadal's movement was electrifying in that point. He took this backhand on and said, pass me if you can on this point. It's a biggie.
Yes.
And Djokovic responded. This is wonderful. 7-all, fifth set. Juice.
DJOKOVIC. Yes.
Winners do these players have to hit before they can claim the point?
Advantage, DJOKOVIC.
Backhand down the line was magnificent. The cross court to back it up.
The 138th winner between the two of them. Unbelievable, the quality.
A few more to come.
that 139.
Yeah, and I like the Nadal returns now. Whenever he's got a shortening, whenever the rally, he really steps in and goes for the win.
The second serves of 83 and 86 miles an hour that have been punished. This one at 105. The courage of your convictions. Novak Djokovic there at deuce. 7-all. This is the play of a champion.
Djokovic.
Looks like he remembers when he played it best. You do have a thing called mind memory.
Winners each. That one was at 96 miles an hour after 5 hours. Give me a break. This is ridiculous. Is this how good you have to be the best?
Advantage, Djokovic.
Tennis 8-7 Djokovic after the hold. But to say it wasn't easy is an understatement.
Djokovic leads 8-7. Final set.
I mean, to think that he dropped out of the world's top 20 earlier on this year, the motivation or whatever was going on in his life, which we'll never know the full truth behind most likely, and it doesn't matter right now. His motivation wasn't up there, his tennis wasn't there, and he's back.
Yeah, and the elbow wasn't there either. I mean, they had a small incision done in February. Get rid of some of the problems he's had. He never spoke about it, but who can blame him? So it takes a while until you get your confidence back in your body and in your strokes. And then he started playing in March and in the Wells in Miami, and he lost both times first round and couldn't hit the ball over the net. And everybody that respected him worried a little bit. Where is he going? Changed his coaching staff and back to his old mentor Marian Veda, and little by little in the clay court season he started to gain his confidence, won a couple of matches, and ever since he hit the grass in Queens he started playing real tennis.
NADAL hit the grass on Henman Hill today for the women's final coming next. Kerber versus Williams, so much to look forward to there. And how much more is there in this match? It could be only 4 points.
You wonder if that game at 7-all in the 5th was going to be the defining moment, the defining factor. Nadal again has to serve to stay in the match.
Talk to you at 16-all. We'll see. 8-7 Djokovic. Final set of this Wimbledon semi-final.
Love 15.
Very difficult to predict anything right now because it's so much in the moment. What we've seen is the Nadal serve and the Djokovic forehand under pressure, and the serve now responding.
Few occasions where it didn't need to be that good. Djokovic had gone the other way.
15-30.
Got to steady the nerves now.
Somebody get the Rocky music out.
You would have thought he had won the match by that reaction.
30-all.
Doesn't get any better.
Forty.
This stretch defies physicality. Nadal's been so successful with his drop shots throughout the whole match. Played another one on match point.
Djokovic, Nadal. Game Nadal.
Match point saved. Hold of serve, 8-all final set.
Final set.
Djokovic, who has won 8 of his last 9 5-set matches. So close to going through to another final.
Led for service. Love.
Nadal has lost his last 3 5-setters actually.
There's one man watching at home thinking, go on, play a bit longer.
Now, who would that be? Kevin Anderson.
30 love.
Tomorrow's final. Anderson plays the winner.
Come on, I was the 26-24. Give me a couple more games. Spend another half an hour out there.
Yes.
Long. $30-15.
Is it like this every time, every match at Wimbledon? This is her first time here, front row roll box. Thinking, a bit like Andy Murray in the commentary books the other day gets the Nadal Del Potro match.
Game Djokovic.
It's a gutsy hold of serve after the disappointment of having a match point and seeing it taken away.
Djokovic leads 9-8. Final set.
Boris, let's ask Tim a difficult question. Is there any chance of tie breaks being introduced into the 5th? Is that going to be on the agenda of any committee meetings?
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's a subject that's been talked about in the last few years, certainly since I've been involved. But I think in the context of, you know, the Anderson match in a semi-final, is that going to have a detrimental effect in the final? Let's hope not. But I think there's definitely going to be a conversation, and we'll just have to wait and see which direction that goes in.
What do you think?
My personal opinion right now is I think it's time for a change.
Boris?
I couldn't agree with you more, Tim.
A regular tie-break at the end of it all, not a 10-pointer?
I'm not necessarily saying that I think it should be at 6-all.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, it used to be 8-all, didn't it? Or 12, but it used to be 8-all. Plenty of matches.
But hypothetically, if you think it came at 12-all, you've played 4 sets, You've gone to a 5th set, 12 all is
Time.
basically the equivalent of another 2 sets, 6 sets of tennis. If you haven't worked out a winner by then, it's maybe time to have a tie-break and call it a day.
Coin toss.
I vote for that.
Okay, but
They've started. Because it could have been over in the 4th, it could have been a 6-3, and then the women's final starts at 2 o'clock and everybody's happy. Not with Djokovic, Nadal. 5 hours and 13 minutes.
Their match in the final of Australia was 5:50, wasn't it?
That's correct.
So we've got to beat that.
Love 15.
this return is a powerful weapon in the arsenal of Novak Djokovic. Straight down the middle into the worn area where the server lands at the Nadal end. Introduced the drop shot this time. And again, the door is ajar.
Nadal has to play catch up.
Love 13.
Oh, he's down. Go on. Oh. Oh, he's taken a bit of a bump there. That does hurt the right hip. Ball in that right pocket too, because he got his first serve in. It's 3 match points for Novak Djokovic.
Love 40.
Djokovic is in the Wimbledon final again. These two great champions embrace at the end of their 52nd match. Novak Djokovic reaches his 5th Wimbledon final. He's only ever lost one. You might remember that one in 2013 where he lost to Andy Murray. But he's back in after a 5-set classic. 5 hours and 17 minutes across 2 days, played out under the roof of centre court. Rafa Nadal, well, 100% effort again. A superb year. He retains the world #1 ranking. And he will now rest before the hard courts. So often the opponents of Rafa Nadal are inspired. On this occasion, that truth holds true. But this time, instead of a Lukasz Rozol or a Steve Darcy or Dustin Brown, or somebody ranked a long way down, it's Novak Djokovic inspired, who now must do his recovery and some press and prepare himself for tomorrow afternoon's final against Kevin Anderson. Despite the length of this contest, Tim Henman, you would think that Novak Djokovic very heavily favoured to win that.
Yes, I think so, given the matchup. Obviously Anderson, one of the great servers, but Djokovic certainly the best returner I've ever seen, and as long as he can recover after a pretty intense couple of days out on centre court, I think he goes into that final tomorrow as the clear favourite.
He has beaten Kevin Anderson on 5 occasions and lost just the once. Jelena Djokovic living every point.